Oh, you lovely, lovely people. Welcome back to the channel again. This thing with my wife's land, okay? And it seems to me, here, with some families, it seems to me that the more you own or the more you have, the more problems you're going to cause yourself. And not just a foreigner, I'm talking about a Filipina here. I'm talking about my wife. Meaning, because she inherited the land from her grandmother, there's been nothing but animosity over this land. And my wife offered them a piece of land. She said, you can have a piece of land, you can do what you want with it. But because the land she has is quite a sizable piece of land. It's agricultural land, people. It's not a residential land, okay? So that automatically brings the price down of the value of the land that she has. But it's not enough. It wasn't enough what she offered her family. It simply wasn't enough. They wanted more. So and my wife is very timid. You know, you probably see my wife on some earlier videos. She's very timid, very quiet. And you know, she's not really forward with or being assertive is the word I'm looking for. She's not assertive. So because of what's just recently happened on the land where they cut the trees down, now as far as I'm concerned, it's happened. They've cut some coconut trees down, made some money on some of the trees, because we wasn't there. We don't live in Lilloy, we live here in Pinion. So we don't live anywhere near that land. And for us to go and see the land is like 3.5 hours away driving. Now, we went there on the 15th of this month because it was the fiesta in Lilloy. And my wife wanted to go down there, so we did go down. And you could taste the tension. You could taste it. It was that thick. Now, some of her family, and don't forget, my wife comes from a big family. You know, it's not a small family that my wife comes from. Now, a lot of the family were very nice, or so I thought. They're very pleasant. They talking. They see Mira's point of view with the land. But Mira was telling me that what they telling you, Stephen, take no notice of that, because they are just telling you because they are sat in front of you. And there's a word for it here. I can't think what it is, but she's told me. It's like, we call it backstabbing. But my wife put it in a different way, which means the same thing. So I said to Mira, the more you go on about this, the more you're feeding the lions. And you really are, you know, you're feeding them, you know, because my wife dug her heels in. Like I said, she's not assertive. She's very, very, very timid. But with this particular incident, she's been assertive. And not shouting, but just being more assertive in what she's saying. And she said to them, it's in English terms, because they were all talking in Visaya, but she told me what she said afterwards in her English. So I'm just going to translate it to you, what she said to them, in what I would use my English. She said to them that what they did was, it was a disgusting trick that they did. Cutting trees down, coconut trees, which, incidentally, has cut their nose off to spite the face, because my wife said to them, look, the coconut trees that are here, and there are many of them, you can have that as copra. You know, every 3 or 4 months you can harvest the coconuts, and copra right now, here anyway, is fetching a good price per kilo. I think over 70 pesos a kilo here. But they, out of their spite, and incidentally, the people who allegedly, because no one's admitted to cutting the trees down, no one's admitted to it, but Mira found out who it was when we went down there, and it's her sisters. Her sisters. They didn't actually physically cut the trees down, but they got someone to cut the trees down and sold the wood. They sold the coconut wood. Just out of spite, purely out of badness. So I said to Mira, look, I said, there's nothing what you can do about it now. And now my wife wants to take this now further. She wants to go and see the barangay captain and ask the barangay captain who authorised the trees to be cut down. Because here where we are, you need authorisation from the barangay captain to chop trees down. Even if they belong to you, you still need authorisation, okay? So if the trees were not authorised to be cut down, they've done that illegally as well. And where, Jackie, and where the land is, it's nowhere near the barangay. It's not. It's kind of in the mountains as such. There's a little concrete road, which they call it a highway. It's not. It's just a road. Jackie, come here. My dog, Jackie, come here. So, if the barangay captain authorised the trees to be cut down without my wife's consent, then there's even a big problem there. If they didn't, and they just cut them down themselves, then that's a problem too. But I said to Mira, if the barangay captain has authorised it, and you start making waves here, you're going to make a rod for your own back. Stop it, Jackie, stop it. You're going to make a rod for your own back. So I said, just leave it. Just leave it. Leave it alone. But she's digging her heels in here. And I think no matter how, I think she's angry. She's more angry than anything else because she feels that, not betrayed, because she said she's felt betrayed ever since she got this land and the animosity started with her family. So I said to Mira, look, just leave it. Let sleeping dogs lie. You don't want to be making any... She said, well, what if they cut the rest of the trees down? Yeah, she's got a good point, because before they cut these coconut trees down, there was a tenant on the land. And this tenant was meant to be taking care of the land. And he had permission from Mira to... and also what they were doing, which is not being done now, this guy was harvesting corn, sort of in between the coconut trees. He was planting corn. And the deal was that he got 75% of the total earnings of the copra, of the corn, and Mira would get 25%, okay? Which was a good deal, really, like for the guy. But anyway, this went on for years, and Mira didn't get anything. And she just left it. She just left it, like I said, she's very shy, very timid, and doesn't really say a lot. But since all of this has happened, she's kind of got really angry, and she's on a high horse at the moment. And we went to see a solicitor. When was it? It was a couple of months ago, I think, about it all, with the titles and the documents, just to make sure everything was in order. And everything was in order, which I think it only cost about 7,000 pesos for this solicitor to check everything was okay and all that. And we paid the land taxes, because there was a back payment on that. We paid that, which is quite a lot of money actually, because it hadn't been paid for years. But it's all up to date, and the land is legally Mira's land. So I said to Mira, I said, it's like in England. Some families are very jealous of what you have, even if it's not of value. Because like I said, this land isn't valuable land. It's not. But it doesn't matter. It's just because that person, that member of the family has got more than that member of the family. And here it seems to me that jealousy runs very deep here with families. It runs very deep. Now, if everybody had the same here, there would be no jealousy. Now, my wife's family are jealous of Mira being with me. Not because I'm a good looking dude or anything like that, but because of the house. And you know what I'm talking about, guys. You know what I'm talking about. So they were always saying to her, well, you've got this, you should be sending mum money, you should be sending dad money and all that. So I said to Mira, I said, hold on, if you was with a Filipino, they wouldn't be asking any of these things. They wouldn't say any of these things. And I said, also, some of your sisters have married into wealth as well. Meaning, one of them married a police officer, and he's still, this is the problem as well that I keep saying to them. I says, Mira, don't keep upsetting him all the time. He's a police officer, okay? He can cause problems. But this thing of the Filipinos where they think that you marry a foreigner and the foreigner should bail us all out of trouble. And I know it happens to many of us, and it can cause rifts in marriages, it can cause rifts in relationships, and I know for a fact some foreigners have walked away from lesser problems in families. But they don't see that, and incidentally, I think that they get happy because they think, well, that person's got nothing again now because their foreigner's gone. We've caused him to go. This is how they think. It's like a crab mentality. So, like I said, I've got a video footage of this, but I don't want to put it online. I just don't think it's necessary for me to put it online. It's going to just show you trees that are cut down. That's all it's going to show you, and the mess they've left as well. The mess that they've left. They cut the coconut trees down, and normally when they cut them down about 1.5 feet above the ground. But what they've done they've cut them down, and they're about 4 feet above the ground. So they would have to be cut down as well. The stumps would have to be taken down as well. So it was a very vindictive job, what they've done. And when the tenant, because obviously the tenant that was there before, he was in with the sisters, he was in with the family. Okay, so they were probably all getting money and blah, blah, blah. I mean, he cut down some narrow trees, which is a protected tree here. You need a special license to cut that down. Not just from the barangay, I think it's higher up than the barangay captain. Any wild tree, you need special permits to cut down. Because I had a wild tree here, and it was we had made our stairs out of it actually, and we had to get, because it was going to be in the way of the house, and that was the reason why we got the permit to cut it down. And we had to go here, had to go there, or Mira did, and we eventually got the permit, cut the tree down, and we made the staircase out of it. I can't think what it was. Do you know? No, that's a place. Something like that, but very, very beautiful hardwood. It's absolutely solid. But I've spoiled it because I've painted it white. But the reason I did that was because the carpenter who fitted it, I said to him, drill it, nail it, screw it, and countersink them so you can put dowels in. He didn't do that. He nailed it, screwed it. It was just a proper mess that he did when I come back and looked at it. So I had to paint it. Very, very. It's a shame actually, because they would have been nice, all that just left wood and stained, or polyurethane varnish on it. But nevertheless, it's done. But that's what they do, people. So the story I'm trying to get across is, with some families, the more you have, the more problems it causes you. Because it does, because of jealousy. Jealousy is very, 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 very... it happens here all the time. It's at a very high standard here, jealousy. Not just your partner of you, but inside the family unit. Inside it. Like, for an example, just a quick example. When we were doing these tiles here, and most people would have come and said, "Oh, that's really nice, that Steve, well done," But a member of her family come in, and it was one of her aunties. It wasn't the auntie in Dipolog, it was one of the aunties from Lilloy. And all what she was saying when she was looking around, she wasn't saying it was nice. She was just saying, all the money that it's cost, and you could have sent Mum, her sister, the auntie, some money, I'm thinking, get out of here. That's all you think about is money. I used to give Christmas money to Mira's mum. Not the dad, the mum, and so she could divide it and all that with her dad. It wasn't a lot, it was 1,000 pesos each. That's what I used to give. Mum 1,000 pesos, the dad 1,000 pesos, her auntie in Dipolog 1,000 pesos, the uncle, and the kids I used to give them 200 pesos each. there's a big family, don't forget, so that was quite a big outlay when you know, it was like 20,000 pesos altogether. That's what I used to give it. I stopped that, not this year, the year before. I stopped it. Because there was no thanks, and it was just like, they were kind of looking at that money as if to think, is that it? Is that it? Not thinking that you're not the only one. I'm giving it to this one, to that one, to that one. So I stopped all that. And of course, that caused a ruckus. And also, when I made a video, not last night, but the night before, whenever it was, and I said about Mira's family, me having them here for a while. No, we've both decided that's not a good idea. And because I've decided that, and Mira's told them that, no, we can't have you here because of me. She told me the truth. I said, Mira, just say Stephen doesn't want people living in the house. I like my privacy, I like my peace. And if I had them here, there's 3 kids, yes, they are teenagers, I wouldn't have had no peace no more. And I know for a fact I would never have been able to get rid of them. So anyway, what's happening now is the uncle's sister, the husband, what's his name? Borak. He's got a boarding house. So they're going to put them up in the boarding house. Say, why didn't they do that to begin with? I'll tell you why, because they want to come here. So that's what's happening there. They are going to go into the boarding house until they can find somewhere else to rent. And I'm not going to buy them anything either, because what's the point of that? And if I bought them somewhere close to me, the family from Lilloy would come and it would cause animosity to us. So no, it stops. It stops. I've learnt my lesson. And like I said, the more you have it, and I tell you what I've noticed as well, I don't know if any of you people, like foreigners, have noticed this, is when a Filipina, not all of you, okay, not all of them, but when they get with a foreigner, they seem to forget where they come from, and they look down at their own kind. Have you seen that? Because I have, and I've seen it with one of my foreign friend's wife. That's, she come from the province like this, and they used to live in a bamboo house, and this foreigner took him out of that, built a concrete house, and he's got a decent pension and all that, and he's got some money in the bank, and she doesn't, she forgets where she comes from. She doesn't help a family. I don't mean help a family financially, but if they come for a bit of rice and all that, there's always a bit of a skirmish about it. And, oh, look what they're wearing, look at this, oh, look at that. Looks down at where she come from, instead of me. I come from a council estate. My mother's side of the family were not wealthy. My father's side of the family were not wealthy, but they had more. So I was brought up on a council estate. I was 11 years old, and then we come up in the world a little bit. But I never forget that. I never forget where I was born. I was born in a place called Crook in County Durham, on a council estate called Watergate Estate. It was a very nice council estate, actually. And why would I want to forget that? That's where I was born and bred. I wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth, and neither are these Filipinos normally when they meet a foreigner, but they seem to forget where they come from, instead of, and they show off with what they've got. I've noticed that they jealous of what that foreigner's Filipinos got to what they've got. I just don't get it. I'm lucky with Mira because, like I said, Mira is a very quiet girl, and she is. She's very quiet, but she's never in competition. Good job too, because I haven't got a great financial package or anything like that. I've got enough, and we are sitting pretty, if you like, but we are not by any means wealthy. And when these foreigners, and they buy a big fancy 4x4, my wife doesn't say, oh, I'd like one of them. She doesn't say that. She's happy with what we've got, our little Suzuki. You're happy with that, Transport is transport. And another thing, when foreigners come over, they spend, and they can't. It's up to them. But they will soon realise, in the end, that the money they're spending on this and that, is it necessary to bring your Western style lifestyle here? It's simply not necessary. I think if you're happy with what you've got, that's brilliant. I'm more than happy with what I've got. I'm more than happy with what I've achieved in the Philippines. I am. You know, we haven't got a great deal of land here, but it's ours. Like you said, it's not yours, Stephen, because I'm a foreigner. It's very true. But it's still ours. It's still ours. And, you know, my son's being brought up in a lovely environment with no animosity. We never argue, ever. I don't think Mira's got it in her to argue, actually. But we have never no call to argue. We have words sometimes. But those words is neither here nor there. But I'm happy with what we've got. We've got a little humble house. You know, and to build this house has been blood, sweat and tears for me, because I did most of it myself. I didn't do the top because I don't like heights, but up to plate level, I did myself. I really did. And that's how I give myself a hernia. You know, there's always a fucking downside to something, isn't there? Yeah, because I did everything on my own. Because I saw how the Filipinos were doing things. I didn't like it. But as I said, I built this to plate level. I did all the concrete and the slabs, the steel work, and everything. So this house has got sentimental memories for us. And do you know what? When we first moved in here, this house, we had plywood for the windows because it was work in progress, you know, and the roof was on, we had no ceilings and all that, you know, the toilet door wasn't on, so we had a bit of tarpaulin over that. The bedrooms weren't completed. In fact, there was no ceiling on one of them, there was no roof on one of them, but yeah. So this has got sentimental value to us. And that's my story. My dog is starting to bark at someone on a motorcycle. He hates loud motorcycles. He's like a foreign dog. He doesn't mind motorcycles that go past with silencers, mufflers, but anything loud he doesn't like. Thunder and lightning doesn't bother him, but anything loud he doesn't like. A bit like me, really. Anyway, thank you people for stopping by. Take good care. See you next time. I'll keep updating you on what's happening here, but the updates are going to be far few in between of this, so the content will be about other things. But when I find updates, and I don't want to talk about this Vitali and Pro-Life Traveller anymore, we all know what's happening there, sort of thing. It's kind of old hat, and we are regurgitating this same stuff, but before I go, I think Pro-Life Traveller will be here for a lot longer than what he thinks. There you go. Thank you very much indeed. Take good care and have a good day, whatever you're doing. Bye, people. Bye-bye.